America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Karen, would you call the roll, please?
Yes. Member Quirk?
Here.
Member Ology?
Here.
Member Gifford?
Here.
Member Baker?
Yes, ma'am.
Member Gadoli? Member Haas? Here. Member, or Fire Chief?
Okay. Guess, Mike, you want to just get right into your 5-year plan?
Yes. Call for this.
Oh, I just wanted to preface this before Mike is in. This is a special meeting. We will not be soliciting any comments from the audience. So there will be no audience participation. Go ahead, Mike.
We'll just get right into our last meeting that was held here. The board would like me to prioritize the needs of the fire department. In your packet, you'll see 1 through 4. What I prioritized. Let's see. Starting with monitors, defibrillators. We had some good news today. We were looking at 73,000. We're down to 68. So it's a lot of money, but still. So each city then, instead of 37, we were looking at would be 34,000 a piece. We have to put into that 68. The 2 monitors again. We are currently utilizing on the engine and the ambulance. They are outdated and unable to perform diagnostic testing that the newer models now provide. The manufacturer of the current model, the monitor and defibrillator, no longer offer the software to update this type of device. We did receive 2 quotes, one through Zoll and one through Physio, and they're both within dollars difference. So that's where we're at there, and that was my priority 1. As everybody knows, as busy as the medic unit is, it's anywhere from 5 to 15 runs a day. And we are an ALS, Advanced Life Support Medic Unit. That equipment is that piece of equipment is very, very important. So that would be my #1 priority.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
And this is going to stay the same. This piece of equipment is updated as we can get, correct? You can't go up from here, or is this?
This is top line.
Okay.
It's out right now.
And greatest, I guess, is
Right.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay.
And it's like any other computer software, is that every 5 to 7, 8 years
Right.
it changes so much, and hopefully the unit itself still in good condition, but you just can't upgrade the software to it.
But this isn't last year model. This is the current,
Yes.
what's available. Nothing more innovative, nothing better out there available at this time.
Okay. Thank you.
So that'd be my priority 1. And again, that'd be 34,000 from each city to put in to make the 68. It's just a little bit under 68, but you're looking at maybe $50 to $60. So I just rounded it off to 68. So, have any other questions on the monitors? Anybody? Okay, my second priority would be personnel for the SAFER grant. And we did send that information out, and it explains the SAFER grant. We weren't sure on the last meeting last week how it read. I wasn't sure about it, and looking into it, that if we applied for 1, 2, 3, 6, 12, 15, we do not pay for the first 2 years. And after the second year, we would pick up the bill. Within that 2 years, if we would lay off, then we would be penalized and have to pay back everything. In the 3rd year we lay off, because that's when we pick up the bill, then we'd be penalized also.
So what happens after year 3?
After year 3, you can lay them off if that's what you want to do, right? Also, looking into this, if you go for 1 or 2, you're probably not going to get this grant with talking and reading. Other fire departments, if you do 3 or more, it's a lot more promising. So, and with that, if you can NFPA to 1710, we'll go right to the grant itself. The goal is the objective of the goal is to assist departments experiencing a high rate of turnover, which isn't us, but staffing levels sufficiently below the ideal staffing level required to comply with NFPA standards 1710 and 1720. We currently right now run with three firefighters on the engine. Per NFPA, we should be running 2 structure fires with 4. That's what they require. The SAFER grant is to assist fire departments with staffing and deployment capabilities in order to respond to emergencies, ensure the communities have adequate protection from fire and fire-related hazards. And again, with that, after the first 2 years, we pick up the bill. That's the way it was. But now the grants before this was you pay, I think it was like 2 years, and then you get paid like 75 or 50%, 75%. But the ones now, after the second year, you go straight into the payment. So to me, that would be priority 2. So if this is something you choose for us to accept and do this, we need to act on it quick because it has to be in by Friday. And that would give, I feel, the cities 2 years to save for that money. And then the third year, they would have to pick up the bill for the firefighter. Also, we broke down what the price would be for one firefighter. You're looking at $67, and that's with salary, health insurance, all your benefits, clothing, that's all included. 3 firefighters is $201, and the 6 is $402. So that's broke down in your packet also. So that's priority 2. If there's any questions on that at all?
Yeah, I'm kind of, I don't know. If we don't have a place to put them, no, we have to upgrade the facilities, correct?
Good question, yeah, and I have an answer for that.
I was hoping you did, because I didn't.
Okay, that's a good question. You have, we're going to, if possible, add another firefighter per shift. We're definitely going to need the bathroom space. So I figure with the 2 years of not having to pay, we give us an adequate enough time to get that upstairs bathroom refurbished where we would need that through our budget money, through building improvements and things like that. So we have 2 years to hopefully.
How long does it take from the time to apply for the grant, whether you know that?
We'll know by September.
So
this year if we get that or not.
And when you know in September, how long do you have to actually put someone on? Or
180 days or 3 months.
So we get the grant in September, then we can hire by...
You can hire right away.
Oh, right away?
But you have up to 106 months.
You have 6 months.
Right.
So we'll go through another budget cycle. Yes, we will.
We could if we didn't hire right away, but we're creating an eligibility list which they have to be in by the end of this month, and then what we will do is start the process of interviews, and then starting, I think we have 12 applicants right now, so we'll interview those, and if they all pan out, then we'll just put them in 1 through 12, and if this would happen, or if we would have somebody go between this year and next year, we can pull right off the list, which helps with overtime. You have somebody there waiting to get right in, you don't have to train them, because we require them to be paramedics, we require them to have all their hours to jump right in and start, and then we would just show them how to work our equipment and learn our streets. Anything else?
Mike, this is the minimum staffing. The way this language reads, and maybe it's too bad Steve's not here, but is this a minimum requirement? What liability are we open to not meeting minimum requirements?
And there's a lot of departments throughout the United States that are running the same way we are. Every day you just hope nothing happens, but if something happens with fatality or injury, there's always a possibility of the firefighter or the civilian being educated, come back and sue the department when it's pursuing a city.
That's kind of what I'm wondering.
Absolutely.
I don't know if you're aware of any, precedent of that happening throughout the country.
It happens. I haven't heard of it around here, but it has happened, yes.
Okay.
Any other questions?
So to get us to where we would be compliant, how many people does that mean we hire?
We need 3, right?
3.
One.
be one per shift.
That'd be one, so that would be the full 3 people.
Yeah.
Your question?
No, I said bless you to go burn some seeds.
So we have $200,000 outlay now. I'm sorry, 200,000 is the cost now, which we've deferred for 2 years if we got 3 new personnel.
Correct.
100,000 per city.
And your 68,000?
That's included, isn't it?
No.
No, that's,
Oh, and the defibrillators?
But if you did, I mean, are you going to be able to recruit people that know that there might be a possibility? You know, you're taking them away from families, from a possibility.
That's another good question.
I mean, to me,
Yeah.
it's like, I don't like to mess with people's lives. You know, if you get them and then all of a sudden we don't have money,
Right.
we should obviously do our best to come up with the money.
Right, and that happens, and if you read through the SAFER grant, some of the stuff really doesn't pertain to us because the SAFER grant talks about if, you know, that has happened, you know, the program, the priorities of the program's first priority is rehire laid off firefighters, which don't apply to us. Second one's retention, and it talks about layoffs again. That doesn't apply to us. But the third one does, hiring new firefighters, and that's where we would fall in under this. And there's a lot of other things on here that doesn't apply to us. We would hire firefighters straight in to do the firefighting job. If you read through the SAFER, they have to do some type of firefighting, 50% of firefighting, which means I couldn't hire somebody on a SAFER grant and strictly just do public ed. I couldn't hire somebody in, take that money to promote an officer to increase his pay.
So they have to be like a foot's on the ground.
Exactly, boots on the ground type
Well,
of
that's what we
person.
want anyway. So.
And there is departments, St. Bernard, Norwood, that's done this in the past and couldn't keep up and had a layoff. And then they end up hiring it back because they were able to get another grant after that time frame went, and they kind of fell under this. Those are the only neighboring departments that I know of. But that is a chance it could happen. We did under the restrooms. We had Pecola Construction come in. Again, it's only been a week, so they were rushing, and he was right at 60 to 70,000.
what does that get? Is that, you had some recommendations in there in the last report, does that get
Like
to?
three showers, 3 toilets and urinals, 3 sinks.
Opening up a new room, is that what you have to do?
It would be in the room it's in now, the bathroom, but it would expand down to the
Expand.
bedroom and only take away like 2 beds, which we have beds in the back that we could move in the rear. So.
The other would be.
The other was total home care, and they were at 50.
So you think we could get this 60 to, or 50 to 70,000 bucks would get us, say we got 3 new people on per shift, that would get us where we need to be?
I think so, yes. There's other bids out there that we haven't heard back because it's only been a week, so I figured Century Construction was one of them. They were going to come in today. They called over the weekend, and I guess they'd seen it on Facebook and wanted to get in, so I said, yeah, come on down, we'll show you what we have and see what they bid us out at.
I know that we have 2 separate departments, the fire and police, but what if, is there any consideration that the police department could be involved in that situation and maybe get some money from that side of the world?
I mean,
Because we obviously they don't have a lot
Right.
in their area either. I'm just asking a question.
yeah.
Probably not because it's 2 separate entities, but sometimes you
City
better
owns the
think
building
about
now.
whatever you can do together.
Right. I mean, anything's possible.
I don't know.
I mean, they work out there and shower after they work out. And on the back side of that wall
And
is the
grants, or
police department.
Is there a possibility of a grant the police department could get to get involved? I don't know. I'm just throwing.
And we're going to
stuff
keep
out on
applying
the
for grants, and we're going to keep applying for grants for a lot of things, but I'm just saying that, you know, this was something that was asked for me to put
Right.
together, and I'm putting my budget together now, which has to be presented to the cities by April 1st, so I just need to know
I got you.
yay or nay on things that I should put in or shouldn't put in, or maybe for the next year?
Well, I don't think we have a big choice about the defibrillator, so I think that's a kind of a no-brainer, so.
I know, if you look at this, we're 50 grand for the bathrooms at the low end, and 70 on the defibs. So we're 120, so excluding personnel. Fire apparatus, you know, we're not going to get funding for. You know, I think everybody understands that. So we're each asking, you know, it's 120,000 bucks. We're each asking the city for an extra 60 grand this year, and we, you know, plant the bug in their ear that, hey, we want to apply for a grant that's going to give us, you know, X amount of new firefighters for the next 2 years, free of charge. You know, Mike, if you're saying 3 brings us up to, you know, compliance, and 3 gives us a better chance to get the grant, you know, with the realization or the understanding that the city's going to need to, you know, in 2 years shell out an extra 100,000 apiece. You know, that gives them time to budget for it, to plan for it. You know, I think, you know, I would urge the group to push for all 3 of your top 3 priorities, and you know, obviously the monitors, the restrooms, and then, you know, I think 3 firefighters is a, you know, something that's going to put us in a best position, compliancy for getting the grant. And I don't know if anybody else.
That sounds right.
Agrees.
I did provide the paperwork in here that Steve requested for I've got Alexandria Central, Thomas,
Amount of runs
reporting us.
I think that we are
For manpower.
I think we are the second
Yeah.
most run cities in Campbell County.
With the least amount of people.
With the least amount of people. And then the chart breaks it down that how many people we have. Anybody want a copy of that? We'll be happy to give it to them, but it's pretty overwhelming that we're understaffed.
Mike, how often do they have the safer grants?
It's about every year.
It's been every year.
Yeah.
And so is it always for new personnel? What if in 4 years can you apply again?
For rehiring.
For rehiring.
And if you let them go and you get it for rehiring?
Well, like I said, after your 3rd year, your 4th year, you can lay off without being penalized.
Without being penalized?
If you get the grant, then that's where you fall into some of the other ones we were talking about before, where the Safer Grant program priority is to rehire laid off firefighters.
Okay.
Second priority is retention of firefighters, and then layoff or filling positions vacant through attrition and through economic circumstances.
Okay.
And then their 3rd priority is hiring firefighters. So that's what we're in now. So
You know, a way to look at this and to sell to the cities is that in 3 years, hopefully if the economy keeps going the way it is, you know, Bellevue's project may or may not be, you know, bringing a lot of new residents. Dayton's may or may not be, but you know, the idea is that we're preparing for that influx of people, you know, and when that bill's kind of finally due to us, hopefully both cities have new people bringing more tax dollars into the coffers that we can warrant the cost. You know, nobody wants to go in, like you're saying, nobody wants to go in thinking we're going to get rid of these guys. You know, that's not the plan. You know.
Well, I believe that you have to figure that you're going to have to come up with a salary. That's the only way we can look at it. We're not going to look at it like, well, we're going to use them and then after 2 years. So we've got to, and we're going to figure, in my heart, I don't figure on new business. I figure we got to figure a way to get this money from where we are, not from where we want to be.
Yeah,
That's a pie in the sky.
And if we don't need them, why even apply? So I mean, we know
Right,
there's a
there's
need
a reason
for
we're
it.
talking about this.
No, I don't
That's
think we
right.
can, we're not here today saying the city's going to have X amount of, I'm saying that is how we sell it to the city.
Right.
City, you want to be here, right now you're here, you know, if you get there, we need this personnel, you know, to make sure that everybody in the city's safe. And to get to here, you're going to have more tax dollars, hopefully. And if not, you still need
3 people.
you still need personnel. So, at that point, it's, ultimately at the end of the day, the city's going to have to come out of pocket for whatever
It is that we need.
whatever it is we need.
I just think, the responsibility of our citizens and our visitors into our communities is very big, especially with the projects in Dayton going on. It's a big project. Talking with the administrator, in the next 5 years, you're looking at 300 to 350 newly built residential units constructed on the riverfront. We can't even keep up with what we have now. So that's 3 to 5 years. The 20 years, you're looking at the 18 acres, 2,000 newly built structures. So if we don't act now, you're really be playing catch up.
Well, you know what we really will be behind.
In 5 or 10, we have one medic unit, and you can look at some of these, Central Campbell, Cold Spring, Highland Heights, they have 3. Newport has 2. Alexandria has 2 in a chase car. And their runs aren't even close to our runs. So it's, and the big thing is, I'm just not asking for this because I want it. I'm looking at it because I probably won't be here then. But I'm looking out. It's my job now to let the cities know and this board know that this is what you're going to need in the future, just to provide the best service you can for your community and your visitors. It is what it is, and we can keep throwing all these stats out and having meeting after meeting. But I think everybody knows that we're playing catch up.
I forget, what was our...
We were held, I don't want to say held hostage, but we for a long time did not get anything, and now we're paying for it, and now we really have to catch up, and we either provide or we don't.
Do you remember what our manpower strength was the day we combined?
I'm sorry?
What was our manpower strength when we combined?
We combined, we had the same amount, but we lost an assistant chief and a training officer.
Okay, so we're actually operating at the same amount of manpower right now. Is that what you're saying?
Too short.
Too short.
So we're too short. And the idea behind combining the 2 forces, 2 departments, was to actually heighten the standard or the support that we were to provide the cities, and we're not doing it.
Well, we eliminated positions, correct?
Yeah.
Officers, basically, that's what happened.
It was an assistant chief position and it was a training officer,
Right.
captain.
Yeah.
position.
Okay.
So your proposal tomorrow night is going to be what we're going over here at our council meeting?
I would like to see the members on the board get back to respected cities and at the council meeting and say, this is what we came up with,
Right.
and this is what we propose as the city officials and leaders.
Well, it's better coming out of your mouth, and then, I know where I stand, I can't speak for anyone else, but
I think we just,
obviously we need.
is there any more discussion by any questions? I think we just probably need a motion to.
Yeah, I think the board needs a unified voice, and if everyone's in agreement, and feel free to chime in. But it's $120,000 that gets us defibrillators and restrooms, $60,000 a piece, and that we intend to apply for a grant to bring on 3 new firefighters that will defer cost to the cities for 2 years, but on that 3rd year we're going to be somewhere in the $200,000 range. I think that's got to be our unified voice, that's what we want.
Do you have to do it by this Friday?
The grant has to be in by Friday.
When's your council meeting?
We don't need the
We don't
council.
need, we just need to let our council
We run the
know
company,
that
we tell you
that we're
to
applying
go
for
in
the grant, that here's the needs of the fire department.
Okay, I understand,
And
but-
here's what we said tonight, this is what we recommend.
You're not going to ask for council approval to apply for the grant, you're just going to apply for the grant, right?
Correct.
I've got to get,
We
I
need
work for
permission
you
for
guys,
this.
I got to
That's what we
get
should tell
you
them.
guys to submit this. Because if we submit it and then the cities choose not to, we probably will never get a grant
Well, do
again.
we need to vote on it? or-
Yes, that's,
Okay.
It won't happen.
Motion for 3 new firefighters under the safety grant.
Second.
defibrillators.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that should be maybe a separate
Okay.
motion, that we also go back and ask for an additional $60,000 per city to pay for new defibrillators and renovations, alterations, additions to the restrooms at the firehouse.
Motion, second.
Second for all three.
All in favor?
Aye.
We should maybe check the lease. You know, anytime we do anything to that building, and we don't own it, we should check our lease.
It's up to 2008, 40, or it's pretty far away.
No, I understand. I just want to make sure that, you know, there are no issues. Yeah.
In the interlocal agreement, we have to upkeep and make all the changes we have to take, and I know that for sure.
Yeah,
We can still check
we've been down that road.
to make sure we can do it.
Yeah.
So you've given permission to
Apply for the safer
apply
grant.
for safer grants
This will be
for 3 people to go ahead with, at least our permission to go ahead with renovations to the firehouse.
Okay.
For the restroom and for defibrillators.
So,
Sorry, back up.
To go ahead with the defibrillators, go ahead and ask for money for the defibrillators.
Well, yes, I think we need to request that first. Otherwise, we're coming at $120,000 out of our budget, which we don't have. I think we're not giving permission to go purchase that. We're
No,
saying
giving
that is
permission.
what this
It's on our
board is
5-year
going to
plan.
ask
Cities.
of our cities. So
Correct.
we're each going to ask for 60 grand. We're giving you permission to move forward with the grant process.
Right.
For
Okay.
3 new firefighters.
so we'll apply and have that in by Friday.
Yep, and we,
Then
the
the
council
monitors-
folks, will go back to our cities and ask for $60,000 apiece.
68,000, it'll be 34 piece.
60 each.
He's talking
He's
about.
including the,
He's including
check.
renovation and
Defibs.
defibrillators is one cost.
Gotcha.
Because we're not going to know about the
Gotcha,
grant
okay.
yet, so.
Right, so we're gonna have to check and see with our budget, make sure that works out. Sounds good.
Any other business? Adjournment?
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
All right. Thanks for this, Gary.
Thank you.
Thank you.